A famous rock star, Marianne Lane, is on holiday with her partner Paul on the Italian island of Pantelleria. Their tranquil and isolated holiday is disturbed by the unexpected arrival of Marianne's former lover and music producer Harry Hawks and his daughter Penelope. As Harry and Penelope start to disrupt the couple's peaceful life, tensions begin to rise and secrets start to unravel. Harry's wild and boisterous behavior causes friction between the two couples and forces them to confront their past. The relationship between the four characters becomes increasingly complex, and a series of events lead to a tragic climax. Hey guys, welcome to our channel, Mystery Recaps. Today we will recap a 2015 drama crime movie named A Bigger Splash. To know what happens later, keep on watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The first shot of the movie transports the audience to a picturesque vacation setting where Marianne and Paul are basking in the sun by the pool. Marianne is lost in the pages of a book, while Paul is in a peaceful slumber. But as soon as Paul wakes up, the two engage in an intimate moment in the pool. The couple then embarks on a drive to the beach, where they cover themselves in mud and bask in the warm sun. Just as they are enjoying their serene surroundings, Paul's phone rings and he receives a call from Harry, who is coming to the vacation with a surprise in tow. Paul is left hanging as Harry abruptly ends the call. At the airport, the couple is taken aback to see that Harry's surprise is his daughter Penelope. The four of them head to a fancy restaurant for dinner, where Harry tries to engage Marianne in conversation, only to be interrupted by Paul, who reveals that due to a recent surgery, Marianne won't be able to speak much for at least 2 more weeks. After dinner, the group returns to the vacation home, where Marianne shows Penelope to her room, while the men make their way to the pool. Harry wastes no time diving into the cool water, and later in the evening, as Harry and Paul sit outside, Harry, with a bottle of wine in his hand, jokingly asks Paul if he wants some. This is where we get to know that Paul is a recovering addict. The following afternoon, while everyone basked in the sun, Marianne was busy giving Harry a haircut. Suddenly, a car pulled up to the entrance, causing a stir among the already stressed couple. To their surprise, Harry had invited his friends over without warning. Penelope, unlike her father, seemed intrigued by the situation, her curious gaze fixed on the couple's expressions. Harry introduced his friends to Marianne, Paul, and his daughter. A friendly swimming competition broke out between Harry and Paul in the pool, with Paul coming out victorious. As they emerged from the water, Penelope couldn't help but admire Paul's physique as he made his way over to Marianne. What do you think? Is Penelope up to something? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Later, as everyone relaxed in the room and listened to music, Harry burst in, playfully questioning the taste in music. He changed the music and started dancing, encouraging his friends to join in. Paul, a former filmmaker, captured the moment with his camera, capturing memories of the joyful gathering. After a delicious lunch, the group was asked about their plans for the festival in town that night. Despite Paul's initial reluctance, he was eventually persuaded to attend the festivities with Marianne by Harry's infectious excitement. As the story unfolds, Harry's past with Marianne is revealed, and it becomes clear that he is having regrets about letting her go. He sees an opportunity to win her back, and disrupts the blissful life she has with Paul. During a trip to a festival, Harry tries to make his move on Marianne, but she gently rebuffs him, reminding him that she is happy with Paul and grateful for the friendship Harry and Paul share. Meanwhile, Harry's daughter Penelope tries to test Paul's sobriety by lighting a cigarette in front of him, but her attempt to provoke him falls flat. As the night goes on, Marianne finds herself drawn back to Harry, and she eventually gives in to his request to sing a song together. The two of them sing a haunting melody to the festival crowd, and Harry dances with his daughter in a quirky and unusual manner. Despite the odd behavior, no one comments on it, and the night continues on. As the sun rose over the horizon, Paul received a frantic call from Harry, begging for his assistance in freeing his car from the brink of a cliff. Despite being fed up with Harry's antics, Paul reluctantly agreed to lend a hand and drove to the spot. The two men struggled to yank the car to safety, but their efforts proved fruitless. Eventually, Harry hopped in Paul's car. On their way back, Harry kept on talking. In a fit of frustration, Paul barked at Harry to be quiet, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. As they made their way back to the house, Harry continued to chat incessantly, causing Paul's anger to boil over. Upon their return, Harry took a plunge into the pool while Paul retreated to the bathroom for a much-needed shower. Meanwhile, Marianne was busy compiling a grocery list, and Harry offered to accompany her on her trip to the store. During their shopping trip, Harry broached the topic of Paul, causing Marianne to dismiss his concerns and defend her husband. However, this did not deter Harry from pursuing his desires, as he once again tried to woo Marianne. She grabbed him by the collar and fiercely declared that she would never leave Paul for him. Nevertheless, Harry persisted in his pursuit, unwilling to give up on his former flame. What do you think? Will Harry ever be successful in persuading Marianne to be with him? Let us know in the comments section. On the other hand, Penelope saw an opportunity to make her move on Paul. She sweet-talked him into taking her on a tour of the island, promising to show him the best sights. They traveled to a secluded spot, surrounded by towering cliffs and rolling waves, and there Penelope revealed her true intentions. She shed her clothes, inviting Paul to admire her body, tempting him to succumb to her advances. Back at home, Marianne and Harry were in the kitchen, preparing a meal for everyone when passion took over. They became lost in the moment, kissing and embracing each other until Marianne broke down in tears, begging Paul to stop. Now Harry had grown tired of trying to win Marianne back. He finally admitted defeat and told her that they should end things for good. Both of them were filled with sadness, lost in their thoughts as they sat down to dinner. That's when they noticed that Paul and Penelope were the only ones speaking, exchanging jokes and laughing together. It didn't take long for the truth to sink in. Marianne and Harry realized that Paul and Penelope were up to something. After dinner, as Penelope retired to her room, Harry followed her, eager to find out what transpired between her and Paul. But before he could even ask, Penelope announced that she was ready to go home. She had had her fill of vacation and was eager to return to the mainland. Harry replied that they would leave in the morning. As tensions rise and passions ignite, Harry's wild behavior leads to a physical altercation between him and Paul beside the pool. In the heat of the moment, both men fall into the water, and the conflict escalates until Harry tragically drowns. Paul, realizing his error, tries to revive him, but to no avail. In a state of shock and disbelief, Paul drags Harry's lifeless body to the surface and lets him float to the bottom of the pool. The next morning, the maid discovers Harry's death and contacts the police, who arrive to investigate. As they sat down to question the residents of the villa, the investigation is sidetracked by more pressing matters involving migrants arriving from North Africa. And the police leave without finding out the truth, but the officer summons them later at the police station, where they were called in for questioning one by one. Marianne convinces them that the killer was an intruder, and Paul lies and gets away with it by saying he went to bed before the death. While sitting in the waiting room, Paul worries that Penelope may have seen the altercation between him and Harry in the pool, but he is unsure of the extent of her knowledge. He tried to ask her, but she didn't answer. As the investigation into Harry's death continued, Penelope showed her fierce loyalty to her father by scolding the police officer for speaking poorly of Harry. The officer was taken aback when Penelope flawlessly spoke Italian, calling him out for his disrespect towards the departed and their loved ones. Marianne and Paul were surprised by Penelope's linguistic prowess and wondered why she had kept this a secret. They were informed that they could not leave the island until the mystery surrounding Harry's death was solved. The officer also revealed that Penelope would need her mother's permission to leave, as she was only 17 years old, despite claiming to be 22. At the airport, as Penelope prepares to leave the island, Marianne asked her why she lied to them about her age and why she didn't speak in Italian all the time. But instead of answering, Penelope reveals something to Paul and Marianne that alludes to something Marianne previously said to Harry. The revelation is too much for Marianne, and she lashes out, slapping Penelope. Penelope remains composed until she boards her flight, tears streaming down her face. On the way back to the villa, Paul and Marianne are stopped by the police, but instead of investigating the matter further, the investigating officer confesses to being a fan of Marianne and asks her to sign a CD for him. She complies, and they drive away, both relieved and still grappling with the aftermath of Harry's death. So guys, that's it for today. Check out this video on the screen to watch this amazing movie recap. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell icon to never miss any exciting movie recaps.